Wanda Maximoff has a long, weird history in the world of Marvel Comics, and now that she's finally getting some real attention in the MCU, there's no better time to bone up on her story. This is the untold truth of the Scarlet Witch. Wanda and Pietro Maximoff's first origin story painted them as nameless, wandering orphans rescued by the mutant Magneto, who soon becomes their surrogate father. Things get complicated, however, when Captain America's old war buddy, Robert Frank, also known as Wizard, comes into the mix. It turns out that Robert and his wife Madeline had once been exposed to huge amounts of radiation. As a result, their first child, Nuclo, was born a radioactive mutant. When Maddie got pregnant again, they visited a super scientist called the High Evolutionary for help. Maddie and her child died during the birth, but the Evolutionary did manage to deliver Wanda and Pietro into Robert's arms. However, Robert was too grief-stricken to raise them, and fled. Since he's a speedster and Maddie was a powerful redhead, it makes sense that there'd be Wanda and Pietro's real parents, right? Wrong. A Romani puppeteer named Django Maximoff subsequently claims fatherhood of the twins, and to prove his love, he imprisons their spirits in magical puppets. Obviously.
You didn't see that coming?
In the end, Django does sacrifice his life for the twins, but it's then revealed that their real mother was a woman named Magda, and that their real father is Magneto. Eventually, even Magneto is revealed as a fake, and currently the twins' real mother is said to be Natalia Maximoff, the sister of Django, who was just one in a long line of Scarlet Witches. But as for their real father, well, for now, nobody really knows. During her earliest appearance in the Marvel Universe, Wanda feels like she owes Magneto her life for saving her from a mutant-hating mob, and this is why she agrees to serve him. Her dutiful brother has no love for Magneto, however, and only joins with the evil mutant to protect her. Nonetheless, this begins their tenure in perhaps the most dysfunctional supervillain team of all time, the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. In their first battle against the X-Men, Magneto goes big, setting up a bomb capable of destroying an entire country. However, Quicksilver disarms it, not wanting innocents to die. During their second battle on Asteroid M, Wanda hexes a control panel to stop Magneto from blasting the X-Men out the airlock. During their next fight, Wanda defies Magneto's orders to save her brother from accidentally being hit by a deadly magnetic weapon. As a result, Magneto abandons them both, though he does pick them up later. The last straw comes when Pietro is almost killed during yet another battle against the X-Men, causing Wanda and Pietro to leave the Brotherhood for good. Soon after, they apply to join the Avengers, and are welcomed onto the team by Captain America. Early on in Wanda's time with the Avengers, the synthezoid known as the Vision joins the team. Wanda always has liked the strong silent type, and against all odds, the two slowly begin to fall in love. Not everyone is pleased with this development, however. Quicksilver views the Vision as an abomination and worthy of his sister's love. Hawkeye, having just broken up with Black Widow, pursues Wanda with oafish intensity, even though she isn't interested. Unbeknownst to them all, however, the being known as Immortus is subtly pushing the pair together. Immortus fears that Wanda could potentially have incredibly powerful and dangerous children, and believes that if she is with a synthezoid like Vision, she will never give birth. After one of the Avengers' many battles, Vision reaches out to Wanda, offering to be there for her as she looks for Pietro, who has gone missing, marking the true beginning of their long and complex love affair.
I do. Do you?
Yes, I do.
One of the Avengers' greatest foes is Ultron, a murderous robot with something of an Oedipus complex. In one storyline from the 1970s, Ultron uses the brain patterns of his sort of mother, Janet Pym, to create his bride, Jocasta. And just to make things weirder, he also uses mind control to force his so-called father, Hank Pym, to help him. When Ultron subsequently attacks the Avengers, he has to deal with one hero he hasn't met before, the Scarlet Witch, and she turns out to be a pretty tough opponent. As it happens, Ultron constructed himself out of adamantium, a nigh-unbreakable metal, but to do this, he had to use an internal molecular rearranger, which is the only thing that can alter adamantium while it's being set. During their confrontation, Scarlet Witch hits him with a hex that momentarily causes the device to malfunction, but Captain America gets in the way before she can finish him off, and Ultron nearly kills them both. Jocasta is eventually called to her husband, and the Avengers follow her to a convent of all places. A trap is set for Wanda, but she survives, and causes a molecular rearranger to malfunction so badly that the energy in Ultron's armor combusts and explodes. Luckily, Thor manages to absorb it in time. But Ultron isn't done with Wanda just yet. It's soon revealed that Ultron used hypnosis to force Tony Stark to reconstruct him in the event of his destruction. As part of this plan, he also has Stark kidnap Wanda. Luckily, as ever, things turn out pretty much okay. Following the dissolution of the West Coast Avengers in the 1990s, Iron Man recruits US Agent, Spider-Woman, Wonder Man, and the Scarlet Witch to form a new, edgier team, one that will take a more proactive approach to superheroics. Based in an ultra-high-tech compound called The Works, Stark is particularly keen to get Wanda on board, because she can interact with the Chaos Computer using her probability powers to predict problems before they actually arise. However, things fall apart quickly for the team known as ForceWorks. Wonder Man is disintegrated by the Kree on their first mission, and while the Scarlet Witch is made team leader by Stark, he frequently undermines her as he becomes more and more unstable. As it turns out, Stark is being driven insane by a Mortis, who is disguised as his past self, Kang the Conqueror. Under the supervillain's control, Stark ends up killing several people and injuring others, in addition to introducing the evil Cybermancer to the team. In the end, other than a few adventures here and there, Wanda never gets to prove herself as a true team leader. ForceWorks is then dissolved after Iron Man's untimely demise. When the Vision and the Scarlet Witch are captured by the witches of New Salem and about to be sacrificed, the Vision escapes and quickly defeats their leader, Vertigo. Wanda channels her powerful magic to defeat the witches and, surrounded by the Vision's love, makes a little wish. Thanks to her probability-altering powers, she becomes pregnant. In time, her beloved twin sons, William and Thomas, are born. For a while, all seems well, until the twins start disappearing whenever Wanda isn't near them. Turns out they may be lost soul shards of the actor turned demon Master Pandemonium. He takes the boys away and grotesquely joins them with his flesh, replacing his lost arms with their bodies, which obviously goes down pretty badly. But even this origin isn't quite true, which is made clear when Mephisto pops up and claims that the boys are really parts of his soul, lost when he was temporarily destroyed by Franklin Richards. Agatha Harkness then casts a spell to make Wanda forget about her children, a decision that has devastating consequences for the entire Marvel universe. Later, a group of young heroes forms a team known as the Young Avengers. They include Billy Wiccan Kaplan, an Avengers fanboy who has supernatural abilities. Looking for new members, they bust Tommy Speed Shepard out of prison, who happens to look a heck of a lot like Billy. Later, when they run into the Scarlet Witch, it's revealed that Wiccan and Speed are in fact reincarnations of Wanda's children's souls. When the Wasp makes a flippant comment about Wanda's lost children, she realizes her memories have been erased, suffers a nervous breakdown, and kills several Avengers, including the Vision. Hoping to end her rampage, Doctor Strange uses the Eye of Agamotto and shows her a memory too terrible for her to comprehend. As a result, Wanda goes catatonic. Magneto then takes her to his country of Genosha, hoping Professor X will be able to help her. Unfortunately, he can't. And to make matters worse, by this point, the X-Men and Avengers have begun to debate whether or not they should kill her. This doesn't sit well with Quicksilver, who begs Magneto for help and then takes matters into his own hands, convincing his sister to make a new world, one where they can be truly happy. Suddenly, everyone is living in a world where mutants are the dominant species. Magneto and his family are international superstars. Wanda is supposedly human, and every hero has everything they've always wished for. Peter Parker is married to Gwen Stacy, and Uncle Ben is still alive. Kitty Pryde is a teacher. Wolverine is head of S.H.I.E.L.D. and remembers everything from his previous life. Over time, the heroes slowly regain their memories, and believing he's responsible for this, take the battle to Magneto. During the battle, a fragile Wanda falls apart and infamously declares no more mutants. As a result, roughly 90% of the world's mutant population suddenly lose their powers, with many dying in the process. Later, this event becomes known as M-Day. Beyond Wanda's long marriage to the Vision, there's been no shortage of men with a romantic interest in her. Sometimes she feels the same way, but when she doesn't, she's usually more than happy to put them in their place. So who exactly has had their eye on Wanda? Well, there's the Mutant Angel, who jokes that he's ready to fill out an evil mutant application the first time they encounter each other. Wanda and Namor the Submariner share a mutual attraction when they first meet, but Namor realizes that he is still heartbroken over Sue Storm. Later, when Wanda joins the Avengers, Hawkeye hits on her for years, but to no avail. Extra-dimensional warrior Archon also nurses an unrequited interest in her. Wanda is even interested in Captain America at one point in time, which he reciprocates, but nothing ever really comes of it. Things get a little weirder when it comes to Simon Williams, also known as Wonder Man. This is because Ultron used Simon's brain to create the Vision, Wanda's most significant love interest. At one point, Wanda is actually able to bring Simon back to life because of the love between them, after which the two start up their own relationship. Strangest of all, however, Wanda briefly falls in love with Dr. Doom. They're even engaged for a while, until Doom steals all her powers, that is. In the beginning, Wanda believes herself to be a mutant, and her powers to be hexes, which bring bad luck to her opponents. Case in point, in one of her first battles against the X-Men, she points to a roof above Angel, and it subsequently falls on him. Of course, it is later revealed that Wanda is not a mutant at all. Instead, the High Evolutionary experimented on her in a way that wound up making her capable of manipulating magic for her own ends. The demon Chthon later gave her power over chaos magic too, and she is also a Nexus being, making her uniquely attuned to certain types of magical power.
There's nothing more horrifying than a miracle.
The upshot of all this experimentation and magical mayhem, Wanda is pretty much unbeatable. Most of the time, her powers are limited to causing walls to collapse or blasting her foes with energy. If she's imbued with enough power, however, she's more than capable of completely remaking the universe. As well as this, Wanda has shown the ability to heal, manipulate time, read minds, absorb massive amounts of energy, fly, and even occasionally raise the dead. Basically, she can do anything a story might require, which means the sky's the limit for the powers of the Scarlet Witch. Check out one of our newest videos right here, plus even more Looper videos about the MCU are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.